Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to a transfer news video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the likes, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And we're about 2.5 weeks into the window. And let's be honest, not just with Chelsea, but just the window in general, particularly regarding Premier League clubs, has been very, very quiet. Not much going on, not much money being spent, not an awful lot of concrete links to any players. And in Chelsea's case, we obviously knew this window was going to be about moving players out the door as well as trying to bring in a centre forward and maybe a left back or whatever else we can potentially try get our hands on. But so far, we've seen very little activity. We've seen nothing concrete in terms of incoming, and in terms of outgoings, we've obviously sent Trevoh Chalobah on loan to Burnley, and we've sent Ian Martin on loan to Borussia Dortmund. Other than that, not much has been happening. But in today's video, I'm going to be covering the future of Trevoh Chalobah and the links that we had coming out in the last 24 hours, obviously coming from the Daily Mail in the UK and obviously from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Deutschland. Reportedly, Fulham want Chalobah, and there are talks and ideas around the 6-month loan deal with an option to buy. Now, obviously, for me, I think with Chalobah, I like him. I think he's a good player. Look, the Sassi's come in and done well, but I feel we could have avoided this whole situation by just using Chalobah instead of signing the Sassy. But, the club, for whatever reason, decided they wanted to go and sign the Sassy. Obviously, Chalobah represents pure profit and all that. We know that. We know the club like to try and sell academy players to make the books look better. That's nothing new around here. But the future of Chalobah is an interesting one because obviously he got injured in pre-season. He's not kicked a ball. It's now January. He's not played a game of football since last season competitively. And I think Chelsea are now finding themselves in a situation where there are a lot less takers for players than they were expecting. I think we are massively overvaluing players. I think, we were valuing Chalobah at around £50 million. The same with Amanda Broja, which is obviously putting people off. Now, you could argue they're going for high valuations and actually they want around 30 or 35 million, and that's where they'll meet in. You could argue that. But I think, whoever's putting these valuations on players, it's totally unrealistic. You're not going to get that money for Chalobah. Chalobah for the last 6 months has been a depreciating asset. He's not kicked a ball. He's not been playing. So obviously his value is going to go down and teams are not going to be prepared to take a punt on him. And I think the best we're going to be able to do this month, and look, from Chalobah's personal perspective, he needs to go out and play. And from a Chelsea perspective, look, I don't think he's on massive wages, but of course, we could get those wages off the books and maybe contribute those wages that are freed up to paying for a striker coming in on loan, whether it's to be a Karim Benzema or someone like that. But in terms of actually getting any money for Chalobah this month, I see that very, very unlikely. Yes, as teams get more desperate towards the end of the window and Chelsea might be in a state of desperation potentially to move Chalobah on, he might really want to leave, which I suspect he probably does, given how he's been treated and given the fact that he's not going to get a look at Chelsea and he needs to go and play football. He's 24, 25 years of age. He's got multiple years left on his contract here. He's a versatile player, can play centre-back, right-back, holding midfield. We should be talking about a £50 million player here. But the reality is, guys, that we're really looking at Chalobah at 25, an absolute push. We might get £30 million for him. So, yeah, this is one that it's a bit of a sad story for me. It should never really have come to this. I think we've treated him badly. I don't think the signing of the Sassy was necessary, to be perfectly honest. And yes, look, he's done reasonably well, but we've kind of created this Chalobah problem from our own doing. And look, a move to Fulham, would be Premier League football, a good level, a good club. He'd play regularly. Maybe there's a buy option in there, but certainly if he goes and plays regularly for 6 months, it elevates his value again, and then it puts him back in the shop window in the summer where he actually might be worth a bit more money because there's a body of work behind him that is going to be recent and that could be appealing to clubs. So I think from a Chelsea perspective, I think we're unlikely to get a permanent sale this month. And I think the best option that we can do is a loan deal for Chalobah where he goes and plays week in, week out, showcases what he can do, puts himself back in the shop window, and then we hope that can obviously increase his fee for the summer. Or we do a loan deal with an option to buy or an obligation to buy, potentially, if we can somehow wrangle that. And he plays well and he signs somewhere. But ultimately, I think a loan with an option makes sense. If he does well, then Fulham, whoever it may be, will take up that option to sign him. Or, as I said, it puts him back in the shop window and we try again in the summer. But I think, in this window, Chelsea are finding that actually there's not as many takers as they thought there would be for these players. And if there are, it's massively under the valuation at which Chelsea have put on these players. And ultimately, yes, you want to get as much money for your assets as possible, but I think that we are pricing Chalobah out of a move. I think, look, the club have said they're prepared to sell Amanda Broja if the money's right, but he's being priced out of a move as well. No one is paying £50 million for Amanda Broja. And look, for me, whilst loaning Chalobah doesn't really make sense because we want him gone, ultimately, this scenario is of our own doing. And this probably is going to be the best compromise and the best solution to, a very difficult situation. So, looking ahead at centre-backs as well, obviously if Chalobah leaves, which he will, obviously on loan this month most likely, and then obviously you'd imagine permanently in the summer, and you would expect, rightly or wrongly, it probably is going to be Thiago Silva's last season. You're looking at centre-backs that are left at the football club, and you've got Wesley Fofana, who long question marks over his long-term fitness. You've got Badia Shield there. You've got Levi Cole there, and you've got Axel Disasi, plus you've got Bashir Humphreys on loan. You've also got Alfie Gilchrist, but he'll definitely go out on loan next season. Bashir Humphreys, I don't know what the plan is with him. Will he go on loan again? Will they look to sell him potentially? You've got a short list of centre-backs that was revealed by Football London the other day. And it's got obviously Ousmane Diamonde, the 20-year-old Ivorian centre-half at Sporting Lisbon. You've got Mark Guehi at Crystal Palace, the former Chelsea Academy graduate. And you've also got Jean-Claire Todibo at Nice. Now, my issue with the centre-backs thing here is what sort of a centre-back are we looking for? Are we looking for someone to just come in and be a squad player and play in a rotation system and, cover when there's injuries? Or are we looking to bring in a starting centre-back? Now, for me, Chalobah's gone. He wasn't a starting centre-back. He wasn't a main part of the squad. Thiago Silva, obviously, probably our best defender still and is a mainstay in the side. If he goes, then you're thinking, right, okay, do we need to bring in a starter to replace him? Or do we just need to bring an experienced player in that's happy to play a squad role? I look at the names that we're being linked with, Diamondes, Mark Guehis and Jean-Claire Todibos. Why would these guys swap playing regular first-team football, and European football in the case of Todibo and obviously Diamonde, to go to Chelsea in a bit of an unknown quantity still, where you're unlikely to play, where the centre-backs are all going to be a similar sort of age, all early 20s or younger, and you're going to be competing for minutes to develop with other players that need those minutes to develop as well. And you create a bottleneck effect where some will develop and others won't. So I look at it from those three players specifically, from their perspectives, and I'm thinking, unless you're being signed as a starter, which I think is unlikely given the quality of centre-backs that we've got, then we're looking for someone. For me, it would make a lot more sense to sign an experienced centre-half that would be happy to play a squad rotation role. So I'm not sure what our priorities are in the centre-back region. I'm kind of struggling to understand what we're looking to do here. Do we just want an experienced squad player, or do we want a first-team starter, or do we want another one of those potential centre-backs that could be really good in a couple of years? Maybe we loan them out, or do you know what I mean? Or they got concerns over Fofana? Have they got concerns over Cole? Have they got concerns over Badia Shield that maybe they might look to sell one of those guys in the summer? And in that case, maybe we do need to bring another starting centre-back in. So there's a lot of things up in the air in regards to the centre-back situation. And it's one of those which I don't think is going to be addressed this month in January. It's certainly going to be one that will tick over to the summer. And it's a bit of a head scratcher, isn't it? It seems like every single window, Chelsea are just signing centre-backs. And it's like, we've got enough. There's enough quality on the books, And if we're looking for just a squad role, why couldn't Bashir Humphreys potentially do that? Yes, I know you're looking, you're wanting some more experience at the back, because the most experienced would be Disasi. I get that. You maybe want a bit more quality as well, potentially. But yeah, if we're just looking for squad fillers, why can't, an Alfie Gilchrist, why can't a Bashir Humphreys potentially do that role? Yes, it's like exciting to maybe go and spend 50, 60, 70 million pounds on a centre-back. But ultimately, is that what this squad needs? Do we need another big money signing, another player with the potential that needs minutes to develop, where there is a lot of competition for places, players are all of the same age? So yeah, the centre-back one is really interesting. But I guess just to round up, we'll have to see what happens, I guess, going towards the summer, who we look to target in that centre-back area. And in regards to Chalobah, unfortunately, I think the best we can do is a loan deal with an option to buy. Hope he plays really well. and then he inflates his value, or the team that he goes on loan to decide to take up the buy option on. But yeah, guys, that's just my thoughts on the centre-back situation, the Trevoh Chalobah situation. As always, smash the likes on the video, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you're new around here, and I'll catch you again in another one soon.